business a little bit. I'll briefly touch on the history, but unfortunately, we all know too well the property tax burden and the overall tax burden we have in New Jersey. But to just give some data behind that statement, some real facts, in our district, the 4th District, Monroe Township, in 8 years has gone up 91%. 91%. Washington Township, 63%. Gloucester Township, 64%. And I could go on and on and on. These are horrendous numbers. These are numbers that are not sustainable. We've had a net population loss in this state because of policies like this, because of our tax burden. People have choices to move, they move. To me, I view when you have a net loss of population in your state, your government is not doing its job. And I think that that's pretty evident when I talk to the people. They get it, they understand, and they're motivated now to change. So that's kind of the problems we have. We're all familiar with our rankings as a state as far as business or taxes. Let's just suffice it to say that we're number 1 on the wrong end of that. We're number 1 in the most taxed, number 1 in the worst business climate, etc. These are not things you want to be known for if you want to have a sustainable and thriving community, whether it be on the local level or the state level. So, so what are we going to do about it? So I've heard in my lifetime for 20 plus years, and for those of us old enough to remember, the state income tax, I think it was 1975, the way they sold that to us, guess?
Property tax relief.
That's right. There's someone who remembers. They sold that as being property tax relief. And the sales tax, and we can go on and on. Bottom line is there's been no property tax relief in New Jersey. Despite numerous promises, there's been zero. The numbers speak for themselves. Frankly, they're irrefutable. No one can look any one of us in the eye and say, oh, we helped you on the property tax or any other tax in New Jersey. It just is, the facts are a little bit too powerful to play. So, what are we going to do about it? We are going to give the power, we're going to take it away from the politicians, and none of us has met a politician, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, who doesn't like to spend money. And it's our money. So we're going to take that away from the politicians and we're going to give it back to you folks who actually have to pay the bill. And that, to me, is what government is all about. That's what democracy is all about. So, this solution, and I want to be clear on this, it is not a legislative solution. The reason I say that is the legislative solutions have been tried, but they're so filled with loopholes that they really have no effect, as we can see by the numbers. This is a constitutional amendment to our Constitution in New Jersey that caps all public spending. That means the state's got to eat its own cooking. That means the school board's got to live by it. That means the town's got to live by it. That means any government entity's got to live by it. And it's a hard cap at 2.5% increase per year. Now there are exceptions. One of the exceptions is debt service. Another one is capital improvement. But my favorite exemption is the one that gives it back to you, and that is if the voters approve of a increase greater than 2.5%, it's okay. And I'm good with that, because that's where the power should be. It should be with the voters. It also is a 60%, you have to win by 60% to get the increase. And I think that's another good check of giving the people back the power and not letting the special interests dominate our politics, which is what we've had in my entire lifetime. And like you, I've had enough. Where are we now? Why am I doing this now? Well, it's very simple. We have until July, Rick, keep me honest, July 6th to convince our legislators to put this on the ballot for us, the voters, in November. And we need you folks to help. You sent a very loud and clear message to the status quo in Trenton this last November. We need your help again to keep pushing the will of the people on the politicians in Trenton. So we need you to go to your assemblymen. You don't have to convince me, though. Your state senators and your friends and neighbor state senators. Say you want this on the ballot because guess what? you should have the opportunity to choose if this reform makes sense. So that's why we're doing this now. We only have till July to get this on the ballot. It'll be in November. It'll say, do you want this constitutional amendment that finally caps property tax in a real and meaningful way? There is another part of the bill that I think is also important. It rewards efficiency. Right now, some can argue that some reforms have punished the towns that have managed their budget well, and that argument has a little bit of teeth. If you manage your budget well in fiscal year 10, and let's say you only had to increase taxes by 1.5%, well, you don't lose that additional 1%. You can actually use that for the citizens the next year. And I think that's a good feature because it gives some levity to the bill. We need the balance here. But the bottom line is, this is real, and I gotta emphasize that. Real property tax relief. I'm 47 years old. I've never seen real property tax relief in my lifetime in New Jersey. It's proven. Massachusetts did it. They went from being second worst in the nation in taxes to now they're 33. Very impressive. The negatives you'll hear is it's going to hurt our schools, it's going to hurt our police, it's going to hurt our fire. I say do your homework when people do that and challenge them on that. Massachusetts consistently scores higher than New Jersey on that. Money does not equal results. Remember that. Because if it did, New Jersey would have the best of everything. Okay? Have the best of everything. Our Abbott school districts would be fantastic, right? You know, I can go on and with that, but I won't. The fact is, this is real reform. It's people-driven, taxpayer-driven reform. I'll give another example. The school budget. I absolutely despise the school budget process because it's a sham. The budget gets defeated by the people, and what happens?
Put it right in.
It goes to the council, and they cut a little bit, and there we go, and your property taxes and mine go up. And I'm not heard as a voter. My voice is discarded. This gives it back to you. Okay? This is no, well, if you defeat the 2.5, it goes to a bureaucrat or it goes to a council. No, you're heard, and it's the end result. So, as you can tell, I'm pretty excited about it. This is, like I said, real reform. It's something we need to get behind as a people and start pushing our agenda and not the special interest agenda and the career politicians up there. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. With that, I'm going to kind of give a local level view of it because, as we all know, the mayors, the hardworking men and women that serve on local council, either as councilmen or women or mayors, these are the people that have to make these decisions, and these are the ones who have to live with it. These are the ones that hear, constantly their citizens saying, "I can't afford to live in New Jersey no more, and I'm out." That's a sad statement. It's one I take to heart. So we're going to try like heck to change.